Hello, and welcome to Backer Breaks It Down. In this episode, we are going to look at something called the Law of Cosines. You can use the Law of Cosines to find missing side lengths and angle measures in oblique triangles. So previously, we worked with the Law of Sines. And the Law of Sines worked when we had the buddy system. When we don't have the buddy system, you can use the Law of Cosines. Okay. Now, basically, there is only one formula for law of cosines, but I've rewritten it in all possible ways. Okay. But the law of cosines simply says this. Right. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. Right. So it's using two sides in the included angle is what the law of cosines is using. And if I have that combination, I can find missing side lengths. Now, what I've done is I've rewritten the law of cosines formula so that it's rewritten here for side B, it's rewritten here for side C. And then I went and did some algebraic manipulation and I wrote an equivalent one for finding angle A, angle B, and angle C. All right, so there really is only like one law of cosines. It's just for, user-friendly purposes, I've rewritten it in multiple ways, all right? So these here, we can use these if we want to find like a missing side. And these over here, this is what we're going to use when we need to find an angle. Okay, angle A, angle B, angle C. And there's a pattern here. And you'll probably accidentally discover what that pattern is, but until you do, you're going to have to like stick to using these formulas pretty strictly, okay? And that's fine. The nice thing about the law of cosines is you're merely calculating. So speaking of calculating, check your modes and make sure you're in degree mode. So you're simply calculating. You're just going to take what you know, you're going to plug it into the proper formula, and you're going to calculate the result. So like in number one, I want to find side BC. So BC is opposite angle A. So maybe we label all of our sides like we did previously. So opposite angle A is side A, opposite angle B is side B, and opposite angle C is side C. So I'm definitely using the law of cosines that's written for side A. And so I want to start by simply making the substitution of what I know into the formula. Okay, that's pretty easy, making that substitution. So that's what I've done here, right? I substituted what I knew into my formula. Okay, so now I'm ready to calculate. Now, I guess what I would do if I were you is I would just simply type in this mess. Seems like a mess. I would type this whole thing into your calculator and get the decimal equivalent. Now notice that when I wrote down my decimal equivalent, I went like 4 decimal places because I had to round it. And if we want to get as close to the exact answer as possible, we should do that, especially when we're right in the middle of a problem. Because notice that that 1,550 number is a squared. Like in order to get side A by itself, I have to take the square root. Okay, and so when I took the square root of 1,550, so on, I got that A was approximately 39.38. So yeah, the law of cosines is just me using a formula and doing some calculating, which makes it easy. It's just a really long formula. Okay, Using the law of cosines to find an angle measure. So I'm going to start by like labeling my three sides. So opposite of angle A is side A, opposite of angle B is side B, and opposite of angle C is side C. In problem number 2, they want me to find the measure of angle A, so I'm using my cosine of angle A formula. Okay, so the first thing you do is you substitute what you know into the formula. All right, so naturally I've already done this. Right, so here I just made the substitution. Okay, and then when it comes to calculating this is my advice, is I would first calculate like the numerator, type that in. So I did that, I got 287. And then calculate the denominator. I did that, I got negative 612. Okay, so get the ratio being 287 over negative 612. And then once you have the ratio, you can do the inverse cosine of that ratio. So second cosine, 287 divided by negative 612. And then your calculator will give you that angle measure. But that's what I would do. I would simplify like the numerator, simplify the denominator, get the ratio, and do the inverse cosine of the ratio. And so that's how we can use law of cosines to find missing sides and missing angles in oblique triangles. And that's how Bakker breaks it down.